Heavens have answered me.
Ruth, I have the powers to lock you away and change your life completely.
You know, you really need to work on your call threats. As in itishi hata kidogo.
I want confessions today. Otherwise, afuate Njuguna.
Calm down. Why am I hearing my husband yell from the road?
It was just a minor misunderstanding.
Minor?
Ambia Millicent akiwa na haja sana na mimi. Anitafuta mwenyewe, she knows where to get me.
I am her representative.
I have not seen your assistant in a minute.
Ako na deni yako.
We meet again.
Again?
Friday night again.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
The race for the cherished FIFA World Cup 2026 slot is heating up.
Olunga, the captain, he plays the right ball inside. Good first touch.
They change the lines as Aubameyang gets in behind here. A great opportunity for Aubameyang, and it's off the post.
Lined up on match day 6, Group F is Kenya against Gabon on Sunday, 23rd March at 4 p.m. from Nyayo National Stadium.
Pumped back into the air. The keeper's come a long way off his line and he's missed it. And that's the opener for Kenya.
With a new sheriff in town, don't miss this historic Africa qualifier duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
A very good evening to you. Thank you very much for watching KBC Channel 1. You are in time for Prime Edition. My name is Betty Kiptum and Brian Moraro is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. We have quite the stories lined up for you in what is making headlines across the country as well as in business, sports and internationally. But first, here are the highlights. Free of charge, 300 shillings charged when applying for new national ID, now scrapped. Deployment of KDF during June 2024 Gen Z protests was lawful and necessary, says the Defense CS. Giving in silence, Catholic bishops now call for an end to public declaration of church donations. Administration officers in Kiharu give MP Ndindi Nyoro's event a wide berth. Prime Edition begins right now. Our top story, Kezia Nyambura, whose medical condition was highlighted by KBC Channel 1, has finally been admitted at the Kenyatta National Hospital for treatment. According to Nyambura, the attending doctor indicated that her condition was critical and required immediate medical attention to first drain fluid from her abdomen before proceeding for further treatment. Nyambura got overwhelming financial support from you, our viewers, enabling her to pay for the much-needed procedure. Our reporter Marie Ambo has more from Kenyatta National Hospital.
On Sunday, KBC Channel 1 highlighted Kezia Nyambura's 5-year struggle with an abnormal swelling in her abdomen. Due to financial constraints, Kezia had been unable to access the medical care she needed. However, on Wednesday, thanks to the generous donations from well-wishers, Kezia received just over 100,000 shillings that enabled her make the 250-kilometer journey from Nyandarua to the Kenyatta National Hospital.
Wakati watu wa KBC walinionyeshana kwa news, walinipeana namba yangu na nimefurahi sana, nikaambia mtu mwenye amenitumia kitu Mungu ambariki. Ndio niliweza kufika Kenyatta saa hii, na kwa saa hii tunaongea niko na 148.
Kezia Nyambura is lucky to have arrived at the Kenyatta National Hospital thanks to the donations from our viewers. The doctor has certified her case as urgent, and currently she's been referred to the casualty area where fluid will be drained from her stomach. Preliminary observations by the attending doctor have revealed that she's suffering from ascites, a condition where fluid accumulates in spaces within the abdomen, causing the belly to swell.
Nimeona daktari na daktari akaniambia nitaadmitiwa ndio niweze kuangaliliwa hii shida yangu nikiwa kwa ward.
Kezia, who still requires further medical tests to determine the underlying cause of her condition, is appealing for additional financial assistance.
Sijajua gharama yenye nitaambiwa, kwa hivyo hata kama mtu ataniona, naomba tu kenye kidogo uko nayo unisaidie. Juu hata niko na watoto nyumbani na wako na mamangu na ni mama mzee.
To help her undergo the necessary tests, you can send your donations to her mother's number, Mary Masharia, 0795132337. That is 0795132337. Marie Ambo reporting for the Prime Edition.
That is a heartwarming story, and of course we thank you for your giving heart. Do not stop. Now, the government plans to pump 12 billion shillings in the next 6 years to bail out the Technical University of Kenya Retirement Benefit Scheme. Education CS Migos Ogamba says this will kickstart operations at the scheme to begin paying pensions to retirees starting this July. Legislators, however, faulted the decision to spread the bailout over 6 years, saying it would be punitive to the retirees. This comes amid a plan by the government not to renew contracts of the staff at the institution as part of its reform plan.
The National Assembly Education Committee invited Education Cabinet Secretary Migos Ogamba to explain plans to address challenges facing the Technical University of Kenya, which has been struggling financially. Migos told the committee the government will allocate at least 1.2 billion shillings in July to a new staff retirement benefit scheme.
To make it work is to ensure that we have a certain amount in the pension so that people are retiring are able to be getting their money as we continue building the kitty to 2032 that we have indicated, so that that kit is brought back to where it's supposed to be.
The Technical University of Kenya Retirement Benefit Scheme was wound up in 2024 following the non-remittance of staff pension amounting to 5 billion shillings. The ministry now plans to bail out the scheme through allocation of 12 billion shillings to be spread out within 6 financial years. MPs, however, are concerned the time frame of 6 years is punitive to the aging retirees.
What we are trying to do is work with the Retirement Benefits Authority, because it was closed, to see whether they can reopen or allow the university to start a completely different retirement benefits scheme in order to transfer the resources into that particular new scheme. So that, for example, when we start paying gross in July, when that deduction is done, it has a place to go. So that is really the strategy, that the plan that we are having.
Further, as part of the recovery plan for the Technical University of Kenya, the Cabinet Secretary hinted that expiring contracts for staff at the institution will not be renewed. Gishoke Washira, Prime Edition.
And President William Ruto is calling on universities to forge stronger ties with the private sector and aim at turning innovation into enterprise. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, the president emphasized the need for institutions of higher learning to embrace an entrepreneurial culture as he awarded a charter to Riara University, Kenya's latest fully accredited university.
Kenyan universities are being urged to rethink their approach to education.
And the Congo is also designed.
President William Ruto says the future lies in innovation, research, and industry-driven learning.
I am seriously considering a State Department to deal specifically with research and development and innovation as a way of ensuring that we grow that space because of the tremendous opportunity that exists in innovation and in research.
With its strategic location at Konza Technopolis, Riara University is being positioned as a hub for innovation. The president is challenging the institution to lead the way in tackling Africa's biggest challenges.
To remain competitive in a global landscape, I encourage our universities to forge stronger partnerships with the private sector and commercialize innovations, develop market-driven programs that equip students with future-ready skills, and leverage technology and digital platforms to expand access to learning opportunities.
The public sector cannot absorb most of the people coming from these institutions. That's why the private sector needs to be the direction that we need to expand. The private sector must be expanded so that it can be able to absorb many of our people who are coming from higher institutions of learning.
President Ruto also highlighted his administration commitment to education, revealing that the government has allocated 650 billion shillings to the sector, recruited 76,000 teachers, and is building 17,000 new classrooms to support the transition to senior school.
Riara University has positioned itself prominently in the Silicon Savannah. This signals its dedication to create sustainable linkages with tech industries to nurture innovators who will drive the economic development priorities of our country.
His Excellency the President is satisfied that the granting of the charter will be of benefit to the advancement of university education in Kenya and has therefore agreed to award Riara University.
We have waited for this charter for so long, and we are deeply grateful to God that we are still alive to witness this moment.
Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
And ODM leader Raila Odinga has defended President William Ruto's decision to remove vetting requirement for issuance of identification cards for Somali and communities living in border counties. Speaking during iftar dinner Wednesday evening, the former Prime Minister, who joined Muslim faithful in breaking the fast, castigated those opposing the broad-based government, saying they are against a peaceful and united Kenya.
Tulisema tunataka kujenga mabwawa kule ya kuvuna maji wakati ambayo mvua inanyesha mingi, na vuna hizo maji. Alafu wakati ya ukame tunakuwa na maji ya kutosha ya kusaidia watu pande hili lingine. Kuna mambo mengi huko, kulikuwa na mambo hii ya vitambulisho, ID cards. Nisikia watu juzi wanasema ati Bwana Ruto amefanya makosa kusema watu wapewe ID cards. Watu wawe screened na wapewe nini? ID cards. Wale watu ni watu wa Kenya. Lakini kama wewe unaangalia Mkenya unasema huyu sio Mkenya kamili, asipate ID card, hiyo ni ubaguzi. Bila walikuwa nafanya hapa kwa wazee wetu hapa wa Nubi hapa Kibra. Na mimi nikasema wapewe ID card maana wao ni wa Kenya kama Wakenya wengine. Mambo ya barabara, mimi ndio nilianza mpango ya kutengeneza barabara katika eneo hizo. Na barabara zitazidi kujengwa.
Now, still on IDs, the government has formally scrapped the 300 shillings fee for new national ID cards following President William Ruto's directive. Speaking during the launch of the mobile registration drive for the issuance of national identity cards in Shabab, Nakuru West Sub-County, Interior Cabinet Secretary that is Kiptum Murkomen further scrapped the 500 shillings charged for the verification of birth certificates. Joseph Wahungu was in Nakuru and filed the following report.
Hundreds of residents of Shabab in Nakuru West Sub-County on Wednesday became the first beneficiaries of the government's quest to make national identity cards accessible through the launch of a mobile registration drive for the issuance of national identity cards.
This is my first time to take the ID. Yeah, and I'm happy because the process here is so fast. And I'm happy because we were told it will come out. We shall wait for it for 10 days.
It didn't took even 20 minutes. Yeah, the process was so swift. Within 20 minutes, all the registration, the process has been done.
The exercise, which was presided over by the Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kiptum Murkomen, will be replicated countrywide following the President's directive to have all Kenyans access the document free of charge.
Yesterday, I issued a Gazette notice, amending the Gazette notice number 15495/2023, reviewing the charges of registration of persons. This is a crucial step in ensuring that every Kenyan has access to essential services.
CS Murkomen further defended President Ruto's order that all those seeking IDs should not be subjected to any vetting.
I am pleased to announce that the vetting has been discontinued as it was a practice that unfairly impacted on many communities.
Kwa hivyo si ati watu wenye wako katika mipaka yetu tunawapatia kitambulisho bila kuangalia kama wao ni wa Kenya ama sio wa Kenya. Tumeweka mikakati iliyotosha.
Meanwhile, CS Murkomen has vowed to unravel the mystery surrounding the disappearance of 31-year-old Nakuru-based fisherman Brian Odhiambo. Further, the CS directed security officers in Nakuru County to firmly crack down on all illegal gangs terrorizing residents in the county.
Tutafanya lolote liwezekanalo to hold those officers wa KWS ambao walishika kijana yako, we will hold them into account mpaka watuambie Brian ako wapi, kwa sababu sisi hatuwezi kubali namna hiyo.
With mobile registration exercise now officially underway, the government is urging eligible Kenyans to come out to be registered so that they can be able to benefit from important government services offered across the country. Reporting for KBC Channel 1 News from Shabab, Nakuru County, my name is Joseph Wahungu.
Thank you, Joseph Wahungu, for that report. And on that note, Prime Edition takes its first break this evening. When we come back, more news, including business and sports. Do stay with us.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile ndio naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto. We heard you. Tax amnesty is back. Kenya Revenue Authority is giving 100% relief on interest, penalties and fines for tax debts incurred up to 31st December 2023. Don't miss out. Take action now by settling your outstanding tax debt through easy-to-pay installments by 30th June 2025 and watch those penalties and fines for tax debts disappear. It's now or never to set your tax records right. Take advantage of the tax amnesty today. Terms and conditions apply. Kenya Revenue Authority, tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Welcome back. You are watching Prime Edition. Now, Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir says Kenya's perishable exports will soar once the Cool Logistics Corridor, a product of an agreement between Kenya and the Netherlands, is complete. Speaking at the Inland Container Depot in Naivasha, Nakuru County, during a tour of the facility by King Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, Chirchir said the project will revolutionize fresh produce transportation between Kenya and the Netherlands and propel Kenya's agricultural sector.
Day 2 of the state visit. King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima of Netherlands toured the Naivasha Inland Depot in Nakuru County. Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutai Kagwe, and his trade counterpart Liki Nyanjui accompanied the Dutch royals for a tour of the facility. They were briefed on the progress of establishment of a cool logistic corridor since the two countries signed a memorandum of understanding in March 2024.
In the cooperation we have had in the air transport sector, which has enabled us to establish a strategic air hub for the region.
Cabinet Secretary for Transport Davis Chirchir stated that the project will boost Kenya's perishable export exponentially.
Partnering with Kenya to create sustainable sea freight solution for fresh produce, perishable co-development, cool logistics infrastructure investments, and reinforce Kenya's East Africa hub position for handling perishable products.
According to Chirchir, the project, which has the potential to double or even triple Kenya's perishable exports, could create new jobs within the horticultural and agro-logistics industries once completed.
Through our partnership, the Kenyan and Dutch investors will enjoy cost-effective and efficient transportation of fresh produce by rail and sea transport, with the net savings equally benefiting the farmers, who we also talked to this morning, resulting in improved livelihoods and standards of living.
The CS acknowledged Kenya and the Netherlands' long-standing relationship built on trade, transport and development cooperation, which it says promises to further strengthen ties between these two key gateways, Kenya to East Africa and the Netherlands to Europe.
In regard to the transport infrastructure for the transportation of fresh produce by rail, I confirm that the newly constructed SGR network from Mombasa to Naivasha has the capacity and speed required to transport fresh produce to the port of Mombasa from any consolidation center around Naivasha and Nairobi.
European consumers now prefer products to have fewer carbon emissions. And on top of this, air transport is expensive. Sea shipping is a great alternative. It is cheaper, more efficient, and can reduce carbon emissions by as much as 80%.
Since independence, Netherlands is among the top 5 global destinations of Kenyan horticultural goods and the largest consumer in Europe. Kenya's export to Netherlands have more than doubled over the past 10 years to the tune of 69.7 billion shillings in 2022. King Alexander and Queen Maxima are expected to meet Chief Justice Martha Koome at the Supreme Court of Kenya tomorrow. Abdiaziz Hashim from Naivasha, Nakuru County.
And the government has defended the deployment of Kenya Defence Forces during the June 2024 Gen Z protests, insisting the move was lawful and necessary to restore order. Defence Cabinet Secretary, that is Soipan Tuya, who appeared before the Senate, maintained that KDF acted within the provisions of Article 238 of the Constitution and KDF Act, which mandates strict adherence to the rule of law in matters of national security.
The government is standing firm on its decision to deploy the Kenya Defence Forces during the June 2024 Gen Z protest, dismissing claims that the move was unconstitutional.
Participation in internal security operations. These are carefully guided by the Constitution and the KDF Act, which specify notifications through gazette notice, authorization to be sought prior to the deployment, and the mandatory reports to be furnished to the National Assembly, and of course, close collaboration and cooperation with the necessary security institutions.
Battalion was deployed to deal with the cases on the streets in July. I think, Mr. Speaker, that question was the issue of gazette notice. It's either just to say the gazette notice has been lifted or it is still in force.
Defence Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya, who appeared before the Senate, argued that deployment was in compliance with Article 238 of the Constitution.
On the question on whether the deployment has been revoked, no, the deployment has not been revoked. There is a matter actively in court, but I would also want us to, again, remember that the deployment of June 25th is in support of the National Police Service.
The presence of the military personnel in the streets during the protest drew sharp reactions from the civil society and a section of political leaders, with many questioning whether the move signaled increase in militarization of civilian affairs.
What self-propelling mechanism has the National Security Council put in place to ensure that once they are deployed, they do not roll into taking over government?
We have the highest respect for our defense forces as a nation, and the discipline and the respect, we admire them. But what we wanted to know, in fact, the question is not on their primary duties, which is the territorial protection of this nation. The question always arises on their secondary duties, which is, getting into civilian mix.
According to the CS, all military interventions do undergo strict scrutiny by the National Security Council to ensure they are neither arbitrary nor exceed their intended scope.
Of course, of keen interest is the deployment of June 25th, which again falls under Article 2413B, where KDF was deployed to offer support to the National Police Service to deal with the unrest that the country went through at that point.
These are senators' call for similar deployments in areas facing hate and insecurity. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Defense has launched investigations into reports of armed invasions in Kiunga, Lamu County.
On 13th of March 2025, a heavily armed militia, believed to be Al-Shabaab, invaded a village in Mangai in Kiunga a village in Mangai, in Basuba ward in Lamu County, and that they were in pursuit of an area chief and NPR, who helps in maintaining law and order in that area.
Additionally, CS Tuya told senators the government is cracking down on fraudsters, posing as senior military officers and defrauding Kenyans during KDF recruitments. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has maintained that he will not be swayed by negative politics or succumb to non-development agenda. Speaking during the launch of new administration offices in Kiharu, the former Budget and Appropriations Committee chairman reiterated his commitment to deliver tangible projects to his constituents. He said he will not be distracted by politics. The area's administration officers gave the event a wide berth.
A day after he addressed the nation following his removal as the chairperson of the National Assembly Budget and Appropriations Committee, Kiharu Member of Parliament found himself in quite a desperate situation after some expected guests, the area's administration body, for unknown reasons failed to turn up for the launch of the newly constructed administration offices in his constituency. Unlike his previous development meetings, which were flowered by the presence of chiefs and other administration officers, today the situation was different, as only members of the public were solely present to welcome him.
Na ofisi hii tumekuja kupatia ya administration, lakini kila mmoja wetu hapa awezaona. Tukiangalia hapa mbele kuna administrator hata mmoja.
Kwa hivyo tumelaani hiyo kitendo ya kupiga simu wenye tunafungulia. Hii nyumba imejengwa na pesa za serikali, na ni muhimu sana wangefika ndio at least wachupokee funguo.
The Kiharu Member of Parliament, unfazed by the absence, maintained he will not succumb to negative politics.
Mimi nitaendelea kuheshimu kila mtu, na heshimu kila mtu. Na mimi sina shida na mtu afanye kazi yake, mimi nafanya yangu, yule mwingine yake, kwa sababu wananchi ndio tunatumikia.
Amlide wakose kumlida, sisi tuko na yeye.
Ndindi, now serving in his second term as Kiharu Member of Parliament, was among the casualties of the National Assembly leadership shake-up after his oust as the Budget and Appropriations Committee chairman, with accusations of allocating more funding to his constituency in skewed ways.
This House will not sit back and allow members who sit in the Budget and Appropriations Committee to use the position they hold in that committee to appropriate money to only their constituencies at the expense of other Kenyans.
Mimi nikiwa mbunge wa Kiharu, mimi nitaendelea kuheshimu watu. Lakini isikuja siku moja mtu aone heshima anapewa afikirie watu wako na uoga.
John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
Jet A1, cheza avieta bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Avieta bila data, avieta bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Welcome back. A magistrates court sitting in Nairobi has quashed an agreement between the international governing body, the Federation of International Automobiles, that is FIA, and the Kenya Motorsport Federation, creating uncertainties in the 2025 World Rally Championship slated for Thursday, the 20th of March. Milimani Commercial Court Trial Magistrate Anne Nyoike ruled that the agreement entered early this year by suspended KMSF chairman Maina Muturi had no legal standing, as it was executed in total defiance of a court order barring him from managing the federation's affairs. That story a little bit later. We move on to Makueni, where Principal Secretary for Arid and Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development, Harsama Kelo, has officially commissioned the Uyi Dam in Masongeleni Ward in Makueni County, a project that will cost the government over 69 million shillings. The dam will help solve the water crisis in the area, with residents forced to walk more than 15 kilometers in search of water.
Wednesday at Masongeleni Ward, Makueni County, the Principal Secretary for Arid and Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development, Harsama Kelo, commissioned the Uyi Dam, a project that will be implemented at a cost of 69 million shillings. The PS assured residents of the government's commitment to expand the project to address the challenges of lack of clean water in the region.
Clean water supply, filtered and treated properly for people's clean consumption, and the supply of water for consumption heads of cattle within the area. This is a major boost to the local people who have been suffering from shortage of water.
Makueni Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. acknowledged the government's efforts in bringing water closer to the residents, which will reduce their dependency on relief food and improve their quality of life.
Violence is related to food scarcity, poverty, and it's tied together. When you have less stress at home and you have water at home and you have food security, we have proven that first, there is no school absenteeism in Aisha by 30%. That's number one. And you reduce the domestic violence cases by more than 50%.
This comes as thousands of residents called on Kenya Pipeline Authority to clean up Thange Dam following an oil spillage that occurred 10 years ago. According to the residents, the spillage has become a health hazard, with most community members affected.
Tuko na shida ya maji ya shule kwanza. Ile boo ilitengenezwa pale ilipatikana na mafuta ndani na ikafunikwa. Kwa hivyo tuna shida ya maji ya shule.
Kulikuwa na mbuzi nyingi zimekwisha kwa sababu ya kunywa maji ya mafuta haya. Chakula tukipanda mimea yetu tukipanda kama maembe inakauka. Hatuna mizinga yenyewe, nyuki zimeama. Mizinga ninayo pale. Hatupati kitu pale.
Speaking to KBC Channel 1, the residents shared the numerous health challenges they have faced, including a rise in deaths in both humans and livestock. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Now, calls for an end to graft and public declarations of church donations dominated the installation ceremony of Jackson Murugara as the new Bishop of Meru Catholic Diocese. This was the clarion call by the chairman of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, Archbishop Maurice Muhatia, who was presiding over the ceremony at Kinoru Stadium in Meru. Muhatia appealed for an end to corruption for the sake of the country's development, even as he emphasized the church was opposed to what he says were donations done with pride and in public, contrary to the scripture. Bishop Murugara takes over from Bishop Salesius Mugambi, who is set to retire.
And we invite all Kenyan Catholics to take the front seat in the fight against corruption, because it is our responsibility as citizens, it is our responsibility as the body of the church to fight against corruption. On the issue of donations, when he says good must be done well in silence.
Let us work together, embracing our diversity, to make Meru and Tharaka Nithi and the nation as a whole a haven of hope and prosperity for generations to come.
Healthcare workers employed under the Universal Healthcare Program in Murang'a County have threatened to continue with their go-slow if their concerns are not addressed. The health workers have expressed dissatisfaction with their working conditions, including poor pay and the lack of permanent employment status. These and other stories in our county news roundup.
The Universal Healthcare Workers, led by the National Chair of Kenya National Union of Nurses and Midwives, Joseph Ngwasi, staged a peaceful protest in Murang'a town, highlighting their grievances and dissatisfaction with their current working conditions.
These health workers are working the same terms with the other health workers in the hospital, but they are being paid a quarter of all what other health workers are being paid.
Be assured, serikali kuu wakati tunakutana kama CUG, sisi we shall do that which we need to do, which is hiyo maneno yenu.
In Kajiado County, residents of the remote Elangata and Kima village in Kajiado South can now breathe a sigh of relief after their local hospital received a new ambulance to respond to medical emergencies in the area. The newly acquired ambulance was donated to the county health department by the Korea International Cooperation Agency.
Sasa tumekuwa na shida sana when it comes to evacuation. Tukipata emergency, unapiga simu Loitoktok unaomba ambulance, unaambiwa ambulance imeenda Kenyatta. Sometimes you'll wait for more than 8 hours ndio ambulance itoke Kenyatta ikuje.
And Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, through the Department of Optometry and Visual Science, has spearheaded an eye screening initiative for the students, the university staff and locals in the area, with an aim of early diagnosis and treatment of preventable blindness.
Many patients have benefited from the services offered by the department, including prescription of spectacles, which is part of managing refractive errors.
Still in Kakamega County, businesses were temporarily disrupted in Kakamega's central market following a confrontation between two rival groups that clashed over the sale of illicit brews within the market. Meanwhile, a Lego Usonga Member of Parliament Samuel Atandi, who is also the chairman of the National Assembly's Budget and Appropriations Committee, has committed to advocating for equitable distribution of resources and development in all constituencies.
I am well aware of the inequality in sharing of national resources, the damage that has caused to the welfare and dignity of our country. And therefore, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned in ensuring that all parts of the country benefit from public resources.
In Busia County, a section of the elderly persons in Butla Sub-County has called on the government to speed up the construction of Marachi Cultural Center, which has taken over 2 years to be completed. The elders say the delay is jeopardizing the preservation of the Marachi culture and hindering economic opportunities in the region.
Na hii nyumba imekaa kwa muda kidogo ijamalizika, na vile hata naona inavyoendelea haijawekwa katika njia ambayo inatakikana. Tumewahi weka complain lakini hatujawahi pata majibu.
Tunataka hii nyumba iishe kwa sababu tuna activities ambazo zinatakana tufanyika hapa. Sasa kama hii nyumba haijaisha, sasa hizo activities zinaenda area nyingine, hasikuja hapa.
Martini Maslin for Prime Edition.
Inuka na Loto Moto sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na Loto Moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na Loto Moto.
Welcome back. You are watching Prime Edition. Now I want to recap on that story from the corridors of justice, where a magistrate court sitting in Nairobi has quashed an agreement between the international governing body, that is the Federation of International Automobiles, FIA, and the Kenya Motorsports Federation, creating uncertainties in the 2025 World Rally Championship slated for Thursday, the 20th of March. Milimani Commercial Court Trial Magistrate Ann Nyoike ruled that the agreement entered early this year by suspended KMSF chairman Maina Muturi had no legal standing, as it was executed in total defiance of a court order barring him from managing the federation's affairs.
Africa Rally Championship. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and off they go.
A day before the flag-off of WRC Nairobi for Naivasha, Chief Magistrate Court has nullified the contract between Federation International, the Automobile, and the Kenya Motorsports Federation, citing it was entered in total defiance of court orders.
Just be careful there. You see now he just turned in a little bit early and then...
Milimani's Commercial Court Trial Magistrate Ann Nyoike ruled, and I quote, "The agreement executed by the respondent Muturi is null and void for lack of legal basis." The case, which was filed by KMSF Director James Kaumbura, was challenging Muturi's actions, arguing he acted without authorization. In the ruling, the court further noted Muturi failed to adhere to the restraining order. The court has further given Muturi 7 days to show cause why he should not be committed to civil jail for disobeying court orders. He has also been ordered to appear in court on March 25th to respond to the contempt charges. Elsewhere, the High Court will rule on 3rd April 2025 concerning the removal of the 7 judges of the Supreme Court. Justice Bahati Mwamuya opined that the petition raises weighty constitutional issues that need thorough perusal to come to a decision. During submissions, lawyer Nelson Avi submitted that no substantial question of law arises from the petition, and thus empanelment of a bench is not warranted. However, the lawyers representing the 7 Skok judges led by Julius Kemboi, George Murugu and Kiragu Wadhuta stated judges to have rights in the Constitution, and they too can file cases in their personal capacity. The 7 judges have filed a petition at the High Court protesting their removal from office. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
And to our weekly segment, Cinemas and Theatres, renowned Hollywood actor and producer Omari Hardwick is in the country. Hardwick is best known for his role as James St. Patrick, who is nicknamed Ghost in the acclaimed TV series Power. Here is more on tonight's edition of Cinemas and Theatre.
The grand opening of HQ Kenya House at Tatu City marked a significant milestone, not just for business and luxury networking, but also for Kenya's creative sector. Among the guests at the event was Omari Hardwick, a renowned Hollywood actor and producer, best known for his role as James St. Patrick and nicknamed Ghost in the acclaimed TV series Power.
Ghost, we need you out in these streets. I'm out the game. This club, this life, this is who I am now.
Hardwick's visit to Kenya is a strong indicator of the increasing ties between Hollywood and Africa. More than just sharing his experience, Hardwick advocates for African storytelling.
Hope is a dangerous thing sometimes, because sometimes we find that all people have is hope. And so it can be dangerous to put all of your eggs in the basket called hope, but it's super necessary. So I think my presence alone and me looking like you guys and knowing struggle, so being able to relate to the struggle part, I hope that I bring a belief system that increases that hope and execution, allowing you guys to execute opportunities.
What you want to put?
Plenty. The award-winning actor, whose work spans film and television.
You need to kill somebody? You don't get to make that call.
I've been making that call since you know me.
Has also starred in projects like Army of the Dead,
You ready to play?
Nobody's fool.
Why don't you just work here?
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, that is so dope.
And the mother.
What do they want?
Revenge. They're using her to get to me.
With his visit to Kenya still ongoing, Hardwick is set to participate in various exclusive events and engagements, interacting with local creatives.
So the dude ain't real?
No, the dude ain't real. It could be anybody.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
And that is the cinemas and theatres. Of course, the cinema industry is growing in Kenya, and it's good to see such developments. We now move on to the business news of the day. Kenyan climate innovators are calling on the government to prioritize and invest in the implementation of local climate adaptation plan. The innovators, who were showcasing their climate-resilient projects in Naivasha as part of the two-day visit of King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima of Netherlands, said that the country is richly endowed with climate-resilient projects that, if properly tapped into, could provide solutions to impacts of climate change, such as drought and floods.
On Wednesday in Naivasha, Nakuru County, top government officials led by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe accompanied the royals in their second-day visit to a climate resilient forum. Climate innovators turned up to showcase their innovations aimed at providing solutions to the severe impacts of climate change. During an engagement forum that saw the royals interact with the innovators, calls were made to prioritize and roll out climate adaptation plans that will in turn solve local climate-related disasters such as drought and floods.
This kiln is used for carbon sequestration. It makes biochar, and this char is used in making of seed balls and also as an additive to our tree nurseries when growing them. We also are displaying an innovation of biodegradable potting tubes made from water hyacinth, made from the very lake in front of us. Once it's passed, the biodegradable potting tubes will be plantable and will reduce our use of plastics.
While calling for support and investment in the climate-resilient projects, the innovators noted that more collaborations are needed among countries for the realization of a sustainable and climate-friendly future.
Our program is addressing these conflicts and also scarcity of resources through restoration of rangelands, like planting trees, and also using farmer-managed natural regeneration. We also ensure that we diversify livelihoods of our people so that they don't rely only on maybe their traditional livestock.
The royal couple also toured a Kenyan flower farm where producers were urged to meet set standards to avoid rigorous inspections for flowers exported to the AU through the Netherlands, as authorities step up efforts to combat a rising false codling moth infestation. As a result, the percentage of flower consignments subjected to inspection has increased from 5% to 25%, according to Netherlands officials.
Opicho Chemtai for Prime Edition from Naivasha, Nakuru County.
Moving on, will the capital injection by Ruby Energy Kenya save the fortunes of the National Oil Corporation of Kenya? That is the question, as attention shifts to cleaning the company's loan book and turning around its falling market share. Yesterday, the government announced that Ruby's Energy has entered into a 6 billion shillings non-equity partnership with the state-owned oil and gas company. NOC Managing Director Leparan Ole Morintat says the oil and gas business is capital intensive, requiring substantial investment and operational flexibility to stay competitive.
Government documents indicate that as of 2024, NOC has been grappling with the rise in debt owed to banks and other creditors, which are currently valued at 7.9 billion shillings. To eliminate these legacy debts and to find a path to corporate profitability, the state agency has sought a new direction.
And so to us, a rebranded, refreshed, much better looking and appealing retail stations for the National Oil Corporation, coupled with increased volumes, with increased profitability.
The partnership is a component of NOC's broader turnaround strategy, which aims to scale up its downstream operations and strengthen its position in the petroleum products trading and marketing space. This entails ensuring security of petroleum supply, stabilizing of fuel prices, and reduction of the cost of living and doing business in Kenya.
And so with Rubis coming in with working capital and financing capital expenditure, it means that we are going to rebound back to profitability, our volumes.
As a non-equity strategic partner, Rubis Energy Kenya will provide financial support, working capital financing, market development initiatives, and capital expenditure CapEx financing for rebranding, rehabilitation, and expansion of NOC's retail network. The partnership also encompasses the development of a new enterprise resource planning system to improve business processes and customer experience, and collaboration in the fuel card business to enhance customer engagement and service delivery. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Now, the government is banking on cruise tourism to increase in international arrivals, targeting 3 million visitors this year and 5 million visitors by 2027. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary, that is Rebecca Miano, says Mombasa is gaining recognition as a preferred cruise destination, referencing last month's visit by Norwegian Dawn, which docked at the coast with more than 2,200 tourists and 900 crew members. She commended the Kenya Ports Authority and private sector players for facilitating smooth port operations.
In terms of security, we have a lot of improvement, and our county commissioner is here. We want to assure our visitors that they can walk freely, that they can feel secure, and we have enough measures that have been put in place to ensure that they have security. Also to tell Kenyans that tourism is for all of us. Let us continue to have the hospitality, the smiles that we are naturally endowed with, and that we all become ambassadors of our own country to promote tourism.
One thing that is very special about this vessel, she's going to stay here for 3 days, 3 good days. We are used to seeing vessels staying for only a day or even less a day. But today, we are receiving this vessel staying here for 3 days, which is a plus for the local economy, because the cruisers, the passengers, will go out to town, do shopping. That's good for business. It's good for the port.
News will invest 2.5 billion shillings to boost agricultural funding for small and medium enterprises in Kenya. The fintech says that this will help boost funding to bridge the over 3.66 trillion shilling gap between agriculture's contribution to the economy and the credit it receives. Despite agriculture contributing 26% to Kenya's annual wealth and providing 1 in every 10 formal jobs, the sector currently receives only 3.53% of private sector credit, amounting to 134.2 billion shillings. Out of a 3.8 trillion lent to the private sector, according to data from the Central Bank of Kenya. Avenue's country manager Emmanuel Murai says the fintech will leverage technology to enhance access to credit.
Technology to manage loan portfolios, and also to access the data in order to assess the risk more properly, or more holistically, specifically for the agri-sector. We did work with the banks who licensed the technology from us.
Why do farmers go for expensive credit? It's because they have to wait longer to get paid. So first of all, how do you solve money getting faster to the farmer? So that now we are not plugging the issue of farmers getting expensive credit because of waiting for their money, but you're plugging the issue of farmers getting credit to increase produce.
Agri is a solution for rural development. Agri is an off-taker of the excess labor we have, and out of that we are going to have a shared prosperity across the country, and we will reduce these insecurities that come from people feeling disenfranchised, not having livelihoods.
And that is the business news this evening. Sports news is coming up with Bernardo Kumu, who is already on standby. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, sports news.
The race for the cherished FIFA World Cup 2026 lot is heating up.
Olunga, the captain, he plays the right ball inside. Good first touch.
They change the lines as Aubameyang gets in behind here. A great opportunity for Aubameyang, and it's off the post.
Lined up on match day 6, Group F is Kenya against Gabon on Sunday, 23rd March at 4 p.m. from Nyayo National Stadium.
Comes back into the air. The keeper's come a long way off his line and he's missed it. And that's the opener for Kenya.
With a new sheriff in town, don't miss this historic Africa qualifier duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. Yes, indeed, and a very good evening and welcome to Channel 1 Sports with me, Bernardo Kumu, and to Soccer Now, where Kenyan football fans prepare for Harambee Stars' crucial World Cup qualifier against Gabon on 23rd of this month. Kenyans have been advised to buy tickets early, plan their movement accordingly, and turn up in large numbers to support the national team. Football Kenya Federation CEO Harold Ndege says a total of 22,900 tickets are available for sale, with 21,000 regular tickets being sold at 300 shillings each. Similarly, 1,800 VIP tickets are available for sale, with each of them costing 1,000 bob. VVIP tickets, which are 100 in number, will be sold at 10,000 shillings each. Ndege further stated that ticket sales will close by end of business on Saturday, the 22nd of March, and there will be no ticket sales at the entrance. Harambee Stars are currently in Cote d'Ivoire for their 2026 World Cup qualifier against Day 5 against Gambia tomorrow, and the match kicks off at 10 p.m. Of course, the two qualifier matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1.
The gates will be open on Sunday as from 11 a.m. The reason we're encouraging the fans to come early in advance. There'll be music for them, there'll be entertainment. So we believe there's going to be excellent fun experience for those ones who want to come early.
And of course, the Harambee Stars facing Gambia tomorrow at 10 p.m. in their Game 5 of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Then they'll face Gabon on Sunday in another World Cup qualifier, where you are requested to buy match tickets. On to WRC Safari Rally, where 2024 Junior Rally and Motocross champion Cheche Babu has been selected by the FIA to attend training sessions in Rwanda as the federation aims to promote junior rally drivers. Now, the announcement was made on Wednesday during the testing of the newly made FIA Cross Car Level 2 buggy presented to Cheche at the Kasarani Rally stage. Being the best young and promising motorsport driver, Cheche expressed confidence in racing and promised to give his best to motivate other upcoming young drivers in the country. In attendance was former Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba, who urged parents present to introduce their kids to sports at a young age. Cheche will feature in an exhibition race on Thursday at the Kasarani Super Special Stage before WRC drivers compete at the same stage in Kasarani after the flag off in Nairobi at noon.
I mean, I just feel amazing as an inspiration to many kids, and going to Rwanda to try and convince people to join the sports will just be amazing. So I'm just looking forward to it.
It feels amazing. It is the fulfillment of a dream. Dream number one for Cheche, because I have always looked at Cheche as a ceiling breaker, a pace setter, okay, an inspiration to other youngsters. And so to see him pioneer this cross car is really something that I would say is a dream come true, both for myself and for him too.
Mainly in motorsports, hard work is the key. You can't just be lazy, get into a car and just perform. So you just need hard work. You just need to be determined and have a reason or a purpose for your doings. Yeah.
And still on matters WRC, where the 2025 WRC Safari Rally Kenya will be flagged off tomorrow morning in Nairobi in the lead up to the 2 stages at Kasarani and Mzabibu in Naivasha. Now, the main event starts on Friday with more than 380 kilometers set to be covered in this year's rally.
After completion of the first 2 legs in the 2025 WRC calendar in Monte Carlo in January and Sweden in February, the Safari Rally Kenya, the third leg of the 14-leg series, will be flagged off on Thursday in Nairobi. Drivers will then head to Kasarani for the 4.76-kilometer super special stage before heading to Naivasha to tackle the 8.15-kilometer special stage in Mzabibu. On Friday morning, the Safari Rally Kenya begins with 32.20-kilometer Camp Moran stage and then heads to 19.11-kilometer Loldia 1 stage.
I think this is going to be a very successful Safari Rally this time round, and I want to urge all Kenyans to turn up in large numbers, but more importantly, we have also supported our female drivers, so we'll be looking out for our female drivers who are a real role model, you know, for other Kenyans to also join the motorsport.
The third stage on Friday will be geothermal of 13.12 kilometers and end the morning session with a 15.10-kilometer Kedong stage. Friday afternoon session begins with the second Camp Moran stage, then to Loldia to geothermal and finally Kedong. The 26.88-kilometer Sleeping Warrior will be the first stage on Saturday morning before drivers head to the 17.31 kilometers Element Taita and finally the 29.32 Soisambu stages for the morning sessions before the 3 stages are tackled again in the afternoon.
Motorsport is becoming one of the key areas of talent in our country, and going forward we will see how we put in resources to develop motorsport as a talent for our young people and other drivers who would wish to participate in the rally.
On the final day of the Safari Rally Kenya, drivers will begin the day at the 18.33 Oserengoni stage and Hell's Gate before going to Mzabibu for the second time. The final 2 stages will be at Oserengoni and Hell's Gate, leading to the awards ceremony, where the 2025 WRC Safari Rally Kenya champion will be crowned. After Safari Rally Kenya, action moves to Spain for the Rally Islas Canarias on the 24th to 27th of April, and then Rally de Portugal on 15th to 18th of May. The season ends at Rally Saudi Arabia, which is the 14th leg, set for 27th to 30th of November 2025.
And of course, that's all about sports tonight. But remember that the WRC Safari begins tomorrow up to Sunday in Nairobi and Naivasha. And this year's rally is like no other. 4 stages will be run in reverse, and also new stages, more in that. That's one of the key stages that will be has been introduced in this year's race. And also tomorrow, for the first time, drivers, after doing the super special stage at Kasarani, they'll be heading to Naivasha, doing the 100 kilometers. That's the transport section. Then take on the 8-kilometer Mzabibu stage. That's just opposite the Sleeping Warrior. That's tomorrow when the rally proper begins. But that's it from me. I'm Bernardo Kumu. Back to Betty to bring the cap on today's bulletin. Betty, will you be in Naivasha?
I will not be in Naivasha, but I'm sure Kenyans, just like myself, will be catching the action on KBC Channel 1. Many of us are looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Bernardo Kumu, there with the sports news. Thank you so much. And that is where we cap Prime Edition this evening. Thank you very much for keeping us company and watching. From the entire team that made this possible, we thank you for your company. My name is Betty Kiptum, and Brian Muraru has been my colleague on the sign language interpretation. We wish you a lovely night. Bye-bye.
Town Express! 20, bwana, town! Wapi town, 20. Tabia hapo nyuma, bado haijajaa, dere, watu wengine 7.
Wewe ni wazako si ungekulia kwenu. Sasa umetoka wapi? Mimi sitaki mahindi leo.
Wewe unamchia mkate.
Siagushi mkate fundi.
Wewe ongea bora usikuze mkate yangu.
Sishike hivi. Unataka kukulia huko mbali na mimi. Sisi nakulamiwa ni wewe.
Donda, gari imejana bado unasema watu waingie. Tuambie ndare hapo apunguze wimbo. Niongee na tamu hapa.
Hakuna volume inapunguzwa hapa. Kama unataka kuendesha gari yako, enda dial *570# option ya 3. Watu wanaendesha magari hapa nje na wewe bado unapiga nyenyenye kwa matatu.
Option 3,
unalipa ama unasuka?
Comfort yako iko kwa *570# option 3. Master Genio moja safi, reliable, modern safety and security features. Cheza mara kadhaa ujaze entry ticket zako kwenye draw ili uimarishe uwezo wa kushinda. Mshindi tunamtangaza 27th of April na gari tutakufikishia.
Umeme unaenda ama wewe?
Mimi sindi na madri nishainuka na *570#.
Inuka na Genio kwa *570# option 3.
Asante.